All of you are in for a treat because I got Jessica here. So you guys are going to be amazed by her bio, by the way. I'm just so grateful for her to be here. And this is our first fashion stylist. So bear with me because I really want you guys to hear every word and really get into her vibe because she's incredible. Thank you. Her name is Jessica Papineau, and she is the founder of CSJ, a leading authentic fashion styling company for high performing female entrepreneurs. Jessica has personally styled hundreds of women, spanning seven-figure entrepreneurs, executives for billion-dollar global brands, online influencers with millions of followers, and professionals in the entertainment, sports, and music industries. As a top leader in fashion styling, her insights have been featured in various print publications and media outlets. Over her 25-year plus career in the fashion industry, Jessica has consistently pushed the envelope of fashion styling. Her innovative work has been recognized as the top performing salesperson, customer service award winner, and leader of teams of 60 plus for major brands such as Aldo. In support of her high performing clientele, Jessica partners with high end brands such as Paige, Jaquette, Philippe Model, Majestic Filatures, Varley, Hanky Panky, Nation, and Shoshana, to name a few. Jessica also understands that life is about more than money, fashion, and business. In support of giving back to the community, Jessica regularly partners with nonprofit organizations such as the Tidewell Foundation and Spark to auction and donate high end clothes from clients, and she provides hope to people in need. I'm just so grateful to have you today, Jessica. Like, when we first talked, I just knew this was going to be a fun conversation. I'm so excited for my audience to get to know you. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm
Okay.
just so happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. And I just love your vibe. Like, you have such great energy and just starting from humble beginnings and then to where you are today is incredible. So I wanted to start there. Your journey to fashion, where it all began, where little Jessica grew up.
Considering how I grew up, you would never imagine that I would be doing what I'm doing today. I was born in Maine, a very small town actually called Buckfield, Maine. I grew up in, and my parents were hippies. And so they were like off the grid, live off the land. We had no electricity, no running water. We had a hand pump. We had a wood burning stove that heated our whole house, that our house that didn't have the best of, what do you call it? Sorry,
Yeah.
the best insulation. I'm now in Florida, so I'm like, what is that called again? um, so really, it was at a very young age, I loved fashion and beauty. And my family really was not, that was not their thing. And I never felt like I was supposed to be doing that. I felt different than the rest of my family. But I would spend hours in my closet picking out outfits and creating outfits out of clothes that my parents bought me from the Salvation Army. And so that's really how it all began. And by the time I was 16, all I wanted to do was live in a city and work in retail.
Mm.
And so my parents were divorced. My dad moved back to Canada, where he was from, and moved back to Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I followed him there. I decided, you know what? I'm going to move to Winnipeg. I'm going to move to the big city and I'm going to work retail. And so that's what I did.
Amazing. And when you were in Winnipeg, what were the immediate changes you noticed just by being near a city?
The it was culture shock for sure. I think the biggest thing was because it was the city, but I had never been on a city bus before. So after getting there, and this was in 1993, so quite some time ago. But first thing I did, obviously enroll in school, but then I put on my skirt suit and my nylon, and I got on the city bus, and I actually had to take 2 buses to go to the big mall. And once I got to the mall, I handed out my resume at all the stores, and finally, I get to the last store at the furthest part of the mall on the 2nd floor, and I walk in and I hand my resume to the manager. And instead of being tired, I was even more energized. I was like, "I want this job so bad. I just wanna style other women." I had only styled myself all these years, and she actually hired me on the spot. And she must have seen something in me, seen my enthusiasm, and hired me on the spot. And unbeknownst to me, I had actually just been hired at a women's plus size clothing store. And
Like a
I was like,
torrid? Like a
"What's
one
that?"
like a torrid or what?
No, it was called Pennington's.
Penningtons, okay.
Yes. So I'll never forget my first day. I'm so excited to dress these women, right?
Mhm.
And they're walking in, and I'm this scrawny 16-year-old kid. And they're walking in looking at me like, how in the world is this kid going to help me? But me being as innocent as I was, I didn't see these women as being different than me. Like, I had no idea. I just really wanted to style them and dress them. And so they would walk in and I would say, "How can I help you today?" And always the answer was, "I'm good. No, put the hand up. I don't want your help." And so I would watch them walk around the store, pull out all these clothes, go in the fitting room, and come out with nothing. Like the pile of clothes was in there. They would look completely defeated, and I would watch them leave the store. And I was devastated. I wanted so badly to make these women feel beautiful. But the one really interesting thing was that I learned that my superpower was my imagination. So I would watch them come out of the fitting room, and when they would try on the clothes and look in the mirror, I would see their eye go to the areas of their body that they didn't love, that they were shameful of. And so in my mind, I imagined how I would dress them because I would see them put on clothes that would cover the areas that they didn't like. And so in my mind, I was dressing them in things that skimmed their body, that highlighted the best parts of them. And but they wouldn't let me dress them. So one day, this woman who had told me when she came in that she did not want my help, and I'll never forget her name. Her name was Kathy. And Kathy, same thing. She goes into the fitting room with all these clothes frantically. She looked, and from my point of view, like she was looking for something. This was a professional looking woman. She probably had conference or whatever it was to go to. But again, she left everything in the fitting room behind. Goes to walk out the store, and I said, "Excuse me, I know you said you didn't want my help, but clearly you had a reason for coming. Like you drove all the way to the furthest mall in the city. You walked up the stairs, like we're the furthest store in the mall. You must have had a purpose, and clearly it didn't work for you. What do you have to lose? Why don't you give me a try?" And she was like, "All right, let's go for it. Let's try it." And
Amazing.
so it was my opportunity, right? So I picked all the things that I thought, okay, this is going to look great on her. And so she goes in the fitting room and she comes out, and I see her. I see her eye go to where she doesn't. And I had put pieces on her body that were actually somewhat fitted. And in my mind, I was seeing what was beautiful about her. I was seeing the curves of her waist. And I took this, it was a duster. It was like this long duster sweater, and I put it over her. And it created this like long line, and it was skimming her body. and I put on a long necklace. And she looks in the mirror and I see her look at herself in a different way. Like it was like a switch, right? And her eyes filled with tears. And she looked at me and she said, I never thought this was possible. I've never felt this pretty. And that was it for me. That's when I knew this is my gift. And I, the way that I grew up, you would never think that this would be something that I would have a gift in.
Mm.
But I think it was the fact that I grew up with no television and I would listen to stories on the radio before I could even read. And I would envision, I would picture things and I would try clothes on and I'd look in the mirror and I would imagine myself at all these fun places. And I really just wanted other women to feel amazing. And so that's really where it all began.
Amazing. That's so cool. Now, with that being said, because I'm a fitness trainer
Yeah.
and a stress management consultant, and the number one thing that I have found is people are very hesitant to celebrate their bodies. And what are some ways that you have made people feel more and more comfortable with their bodies as you continue to style them? Because I'm sure it was like the very first time they were a little bit like, oh, let's go more modest. And then as they felt more comfortable, they got bolder with you.
Yeah, I work with a lot of high performing women that are either executives or they are they have their own companies. A lot of the women that I work with actually are book writers and keynote speakers and they're getting on stages. And you would never know that these women have any kind of difficulty with how they perceive themselves. But one thing I've found is that it doesn't matter if she's a size 0 or she's a size 18. Every woman, and no matter what age or season of life she's in, she has something about her body that she feels shameful of. And so what I've learned, again, as I was mentioning before, is how to highlight the best parts of her, right? Where she
Right.
can, instead of looking in the mirror and zoning in on the areas that she doesn't love and really focusing there, I can show her how with clothing, she can wear pieces that highlight the best parts of her. Because as a woman, and I'm sure you can relate to this, when your listeners can relate to this, that when you focus in on what you don't like, you just get more of that. You just want to cover it up. And so women, even those that are the high performers, are walking out into the world and they're really not showing up as their true authentic self. And
Hmm.
so my gift being showing them how to use clothes that will skim their body, that they are worthy of putting on pieces that are great fabrics, that the fit is wonderful, and that they can then have their confidence elevate. They can look in the mirror before they leave for the day and they can say, wow, I look incredible. And instead of focusing right on those self limiting beliefs or those things they don't love about themselves, they can actually go out there in the world and share their gifts with the world because they're truly showing up in their power.
Beautiful. What are some of your favorite pieces to style your clients in?
For me, what I've learned is most women have a closet full of novelty pieces, like 80% novelty pieces that they've gone into a store and they've seen the pretty floral things and something that's sparkly or something that they love. And they just buy that one thing and they have nothing to go with it when they get home. Right. So it's really what I love to style is I love to take a minimal amount of pieces that are core items, right? Like the perfect fitting denim or the great white t-shirt, the classic sneaker, the black sandal, all the things that are like core basic pieces and bring them all together and round them out as an outfit and put the icing on the cake. So I call it like the cake and the icing, the cake being those core pieces that align not only with the life that you have and the lifestyle you have, but the life that you truly desire. and they're core, but they're quality, right? And so that's what I really love to do. Actually, when I was in my early 20s working in a woman's suiting store, I used to entertain all the women that would come in on their lunch breaks. Like they were working in all these high rise office buildings, and they would come in, and I would show them how to take 5 different pieces and create 21. This was my whole thing, create 21 outfits out of it by bringing
Wow.
in accessories. So like at that time, it was all about scarves. And I learned how to do all these different things with scarves and even make like little jackets out of the scarves and wraps and different things. And so that's really what I love is reimagining pieces that are really basic by bringing in that icing on the cake.
That's really cool. I'm just thinking too, when I was in it was in college and I started getting into scarves. I love scarves. And when I went to Europe as like my graduation trip present to
Yeah.
myself, I went to all these different places in Europe and I from each city I got a scarf and I started to style it differently. I just love that accessory. So that just brought me back. What are some ways that women can style with you, but also be more aligned with their personal brand?
Over the last 25 years, I have really come up with a formula, a 4-part framework actually, of how I work with my clients. And the first part of that framework really has nothing to do with fashion or clothes. It has to do with really understanding who she is and what she desires. And that first pillar is called review and reflect.
Mm,
And it's really about reviewing and reflecting on her life. With her being the woman that I serve deeply, she, as I mentioned, she is that high performer. And that high performing woman really desires to be the best version of herself in every area of her life. When she's in business, she's constantly reinventing herself. When she's at home, she wants to be the best version of herself as a mother, right? As a wife, to be able to go on date night and really hold the space with her husband, to be fully present, to have a good relationship. She knows that she needs to outsource talent to help her in each area, right? But what she really needs help with is tapping into and having someone hold the space with her to give her permission to really think about what she truly desires, where she wants to be. And oftentimes women are holding themselves back from that based on what they think they should be doing. And a lot of the women that I work with on the outside, it looks like they're operating at 110% because they're doing all the things. They're super successful on the outside, but really it's a push. That push creates a lot of stress for her because she's not fully living into what she truly desires. So the first part of the framework is really determining what those things are,
mm,
right? Maybe in her business, she has gotten to a certain level, but she hasn't taken it that step further because she doesn't even think it's possible. So I hold the space with her, and literally, when she's telling me where she sees herself or where she desires to be, I can literally close my eyes and imagine what she looks like and what she's wearing. And then with that lens, going into her wardrobe and really extracting the pieces that align with that, right? And the second part of my formula is really assess and eliminate, right? And so I call it the 3 Fs, and it's fit, fabric, and fashion. And these are the ways to determine whether or not a piece in your wardrobe stays or goes, whether or not that piece aligns with the woman that you are ready to step into, right? So, fit being, does it fit you? Does it fit you right now? Many women are hanging on to pieces in their wardrobe that don't fit them. Oftentimes, it's the jeans that they haven't gotten into since before children. And they're basically shaming themselves into saying to themselves, I'm going to fit into those one day. And really, they don't belong there. Letting those pieces go. You're worthy of wearing pieces that fit your body very well and that you feel wonderful in. The next one is fabric. Fabric, there's some obvious things, right? Do your clothes have pills on them? Are they tattered and torn? Have they been overwashed? Was your piece once black and now it's like a charcoal color because it's been washed too many times? Oftentimes, women don't know when fabric is broken down, right? So they're putting on these clothes that fit them well at one time and looked great on them, but now the fabric is broken down and they think there's something wrong with my body. I'm not looking good in the clothes.
Mm.
When oftentimes that's the lycra in the fabric. So, like for t-shirts, for example, when you take a t-shirt and you move it apart, it has this crunchy feel, crunchy sound to it. That means that it's time to let it go. Like it's literally no longer serving you.
Mm.
Denim, that's a big thing. A lot of women are walking around with jeans that are the fabric has broken down. How you tell is where the crotch area is. There's like a bubbling that happens over time. And that's the lycra that is broken down from being overwashed, from being going in the dryer, in the heat, breaking it down, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And then the last one is fashion. So this one's tricky for a lot of people because they're like, okay, is it still in fashion? Was it going to come back into fashion? And this is where it's important to determine, is this a core item that's a classic, or is it a novelty piece? Or is it fast fashion? And
Mm.
so if you can determine, okay, this is a classic piece, and then realize, okay, it's a classic piece, but does it align with my lifestyle now? If you are a corporate executive and it's a black suit and it's a core black suit that's classic, is it still in style? Is it double breasted? Was that the right look for you? That sort of thing. And then letting go of the pieces that aren't serving you, determining what you have and making a list of what's needed to plug in to actually round out your wardrobe so that you can then be very purposeful and intentional about the pieces you're bringing into your wardrobe.
I love that. So, what's something that people fight you on? These are high achieving women, right?
Yes.
Like they're at the
Yes.
top of their peak performance, and
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone has opinions. So,
Yes.
and personality, it's going to happen.
Oftentimes, when women reach out to me, they've already tried to do all this for themselves,
Got it.
right? And they realized that it was taking up so much of their time and they were wasting so much money on pieces that just were not working for them. And they've done a lot of research, right? And when you go on social media and you start Googling things and looking at what influencers are doing, that sort of thing, there's a bunch of rules. And so women come to me and they're like, I'm a pear shape. I can't wear certain things. I can't wear wide leg jeans. I'm short. So if I wear this, it's not going to be right. Here's a list of what my colors are. So- And so they're very resistant, even to things like, I would say one of the most resistant things women are belts. And I think part of the reason is belts highlight, right? They show your waist, and many women are trying to cover. And so that is one thing. So when a woman says, I will never wear a belt, my first thing I want to do is show her that she can. And so I will say, all the clients that I have, I don't have one client that will not wear a belt, but many of them have told me before I started working with them that they would never wear one. So I would say that's one of the things. The resistance, there's a lot of resistance around trying things that they wouldn't normally try because they think there's rules around it.
Mm.
So I really look at each woman as an individual and really dress her based on not only the woman that she describes she desires to be, but I dress her in such a way that is going to, like I said, highlight the best areas of her instead of hiding them. Because I think with a lot of these rules, it's about focusing and not showing what they don't like. And instead, I come at it from a positive way of showing them what they do.
Beautiful. So, how does fashion then contribute to their success?
It's interesting because A lot of the women that I'm working with, the gap between where she is and where she desires to be, it closes very quickly once we begin working together. Oftentimes, when a woman reaches out and we get on a call together and we do a consultation, I always ask, when did you start thinking about hiring a stylist? Or when did you start following me on social media? And typically, this is really interesting. It's, and even we've done analytics on this, it's 1 year from the time they thought about it to the time they did it. And the reason is because they're saying, I will reach out to her when I will invest in a stylist when I lose the weight. I will invest in myself once I get the promotion, once I'm making more money, once the kids graduate college and I can invest in myself, that sort of thing. And so what happens after this year is that nothing has changed. And she's finally at the point where I want to level it up. And clearly, I can't do this for myself. And what I find is that once I can help her see what's beautiful about herself, show her how to invest in herself, and actually put the pieces on her body that she feels amazing in, her confidence begins to elevate. And when her confidence elevates and she starts truly showing up in her power, she starts attracting amazing things in her life.
Mm.
I hear things like, I've been trying to get this promotion forever. And finally, I was at the meeting and my boss took me aside after and said, wow, you really transformed over the last month. We're really seeing you come to the table with all these ideas. And I think part of it too is there's an energy shift and she begins to allow her gifts to show up, whereas maybe before she was hiding. And so I'm sure you've heard me say the hiding and highlighting quite a few times now. And that it's really metaphorical for her life, right? And showing up. And so I also find women, when they begin working with me after about a month, they tell me that they lost 10 pounds if she desired to lose weight. I'm like, really? So tell me, have you gone on a diet? And the answer is always no. And so I think what it is, these shifts start to happen in what her focus is.
Mhm.
And again, like focusing on what she loves about herself. And so she's truly showing up in her power. She also tells me that her relationships improve. And many of the women that I work with, I just got on a Zoom call with one of my clients last week, and she's just glowing. And I said, so there's something that's changed. Tell me, Laura, what is it? And she said, okay, I don't know if this is okay if I'm saying this is a lot of information, but I am having so much sex with my husband.
Ah,
And it really all goes back to confidence and
yep.
feeling amazing in your body.
I love it. I love it so much. And I just love that you're celebrating and that people don't realize too that it's this much more than just I'm putting colors on you and sprinkling this t-shirt on you and then adding this blazer and these shoes. It's like you're helping them pause, take a look at them, take stock in what's going on in their lives and really giving them the push they need to be their 2.0 self that they've always had inside of them.
And when that happens, Sarah, there's this transformative pull, and it no longer becomes a push because when you're fully aligned with yourself and you truly have begun to really show up being seen and you want to be seen, it it just you naturally get pulled to not only what you desire, but you begin sharing your gifts with others and transforming other people's lives.
What was that energy shift for you? Because you went from working for other people, you were also something people might not know about you in college, you did fine art, had a fine art
I
degree.
did.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then transitioned into fashion, and now you have your own business. So what was that energy shift to you to give you the confidence to say, "I can do this on a bigger level?"
I don't know that there was necessarily a shift in my confidence. Really, what it was many years of transforming women's lives within the confines of a store, working in a boutique. And my side hustle was always these clients wanted me to come to their homes and curate their wardrobes and do the assessment and the eliminating and pack them for trips. And they would come to the store and get the pieces that they needed for their lifestyle. And I would make their outfits at home. And so over the years, I was working for somebody else. I helped a woman over the course of 8 years build her business from just under 1 million to 3 million a year. And I was basically
Wow.
running the store for her. And I was seeing all the lives that I was touching, right? I was seeing these clients that would regularly come in to see me. And I was noticing the shifts that had happened in their lives. And I thought to myself, how can I do this on a bigger scale? Like it was so important to me to continue to impact. And there was one day and I was driving into work and it was like a 20-minute drive into work. And that was my time really for my self development time where I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to thought leaders. And Tony Robbins was like, I loved him. I still love him. And this one particular morning, I was at a stoplight. I will never forget. I was at this stoplight and he said, when you have a gift and you have a gift that you can share with others and really make impact on their lives, if you choose out of fear not to take that leap, not to take that step to really step into that, right? To really live out your purpose, then you are being extremely selfish. And I thought, I'm not selfish. I just want to provide for my family and do the best for my kids. And what does that mean? And then the light bulb went off. Transformations happen in moments, right? I had the moment where I thought, you know what? I am scared. I am fearful. But if I can just let myself go and have the faith that this is what I was born to do,
Mm.
why not me? Why can't it be me? And so from that point forward, I had a different lens. I couldn't unsee and unknow what I had just discovered. And within 10 months, I couldn't afford, my family and I, we couldn't afford for me to stop working and build up a business from the ground up. So I thought, how am I going to do this in the right way? And so with my creativity and my imagination, I closed my eyes and I imagined what it would be like to create a business that I could not only transform women's lives, but that I could really feel the best about what I was doing. And it wasn't retail because retail was, and working in a store was really all about women just coming in and then buying on emotion and not with purpose. And so when I closed my eyes, I imagined studio, which actually I'm in right now. I imagined a studio with pieces of clothing that were perfect for any woman that would come in and that I would work with her one on one to create these outfits and really help her shop with purpose so that I could impact her life even more deeply. And in the course of these 10 months, I built up my side hustle even more. I told my husband that when I double my income for a month, I am going to start my company. I'm going to give my notice and walk away. So, December of 2018, I doubled my income. I have 2 children. We have family life as well. And I was not participating in any of the festivities leading up to the holidays and all of that. I can't believe I had the most supportive husband. that believed in me and believed in my dreams. And when I made that, when I doubled my income that month, I did it. I decided I'm leaving. And I think when you align yourself with that and you have faith and you trust in that, everything lines up. I never had a gap in how much I was making. In fact, I made my first day that I was working with clients, I made the same amount in that one day that I would make in 2 weeks working for the woman that I was working for 8 years. And it wasn't about the money. I just wanted to transform, continue to transform and impact.
So key. It's more than just money. Like it really has to be a big why and the love you have for that passion of styling people. That's what makes it actually happen. I love hearing that. And it's a great reminder for everyone too. How has stress saved your life?
I've thought about this because I knew you were going to ask me this question. Stress really has allowed me to continuously grow. So I know this sounds a little crazy and it may not be super healthy, but this is how I live my life. I live my life every day. So when I get up in the morning, I have a lot of intention around what I'm going to do for that day that's going to push me forward. So I constantly am reinventing myself. I'm constantly trying new things. And it does put me in a state of stress because it's scary, right? To try new things. So, in fact, right now, obviously, I'm doing podcasts. I'm here with you. Over the last year, I've done, I don't know how many podcasts, but also interviewed many women actually on Facebook Lives because I don't yet have a podcast. But these are all things that scare me. And I just wrote my keynote
Gonna
and I'm
say
going
you
to be
need one.
speaking. So I already have a couple of things lined up. I spoke to a mother-daughter group, mother-daughter retreat actually last week virtually. And these are things that scare the crap out of me. And really, even taking the leap of starting a business, that created a lot of stress. Having your own company is a lot of stress, but it allows me to grow. And in growing, I am able to experience true joy. And I think when we live in a state of comfortable, it doesn't allow us to grow. And so I'm so grateful for the stress that I put myself under.
Same. I'm so grateful for you for coming on and chatting with us about fashion and being your authentic self, because that's really what it's all about and opening yourself up for greatness. How can people connect with you? And I know that you have something awesome coming out soon.
Yeah, I do.
So, how can we connect and find out more?
First, I'll just share with you how the business has shifted and changed. And I'm now at a place where I can, because we've had so much growth, we're at a place now where we're going to be able to impact more people by the shift of the business model. So currently, we have about 600 clients. Half of them are in Sarasota, Florida, where I live, and
Thank-
half of them are all over the United States. And so I do a very big virtual business. Talk about stress. I work 7 days a week, about 10 hours a day. And I know that sounds crazy, and I am tired sometimes, but again, it's because I'm living out my purpose. I feel pulled and called to continue. We are right now creating a membership program so that we can serve more. We're creating an app. It's a styling app that I did a ton of market research. There isn't anyone else doing this quite the way I'm doing it. And within this membership program, we will have 3 different tiers. The first tier of membership, and all of this is housed within this app, but the first tier of membership really is a DIY. It's a digital course that I've created with my 4-part process of how to do this for yourself. And that's a one-time purchase. The middle tier is the course plus a do it with me and a community. So within that community, it will be other like minded women that are these high performers that desire to be around other women that are like minded. Because I truly believe when that type of woman is with other women like that, this is where true innovation happens in this world.
Mm.
And so we'll also use that space to do live webinars, live Q&A sessions. I'll dive deeper into each module of the course and show women how to style themselves. I'll also be bringing in guest expert speakers like yourself, Sarah, that high performing woman desires to have in her life. So I'm basically curating that group for her, and then our top tier of membership is what I'm currently doing. It's all of those things that she gets to be part of that community, have all of those tools at her disposal, but also have me one on one to help guide her. So that's what's coming up. To get in touch with me, I offer, and to your people that are listening, a freestyling call. So basically, that call is really all about me meeting you where you are and really formulating a plan, whether you're going to work with me now, or maybe there's a plan for working with me in the near future. And I give you some really actionable steps that you can take right now in your wardrobe and really give some of that value on that call as well. I offer all kinds of free resources on my website. I think you're also going to have a link to my free wardrobe edit blueprint. And this consists of the 3 F's I was talking about editing your wardrobe. And then follow me on social media. I give all kinds of tips and tricks at the Jessica Papineau on Instagram, Customized Styling by Jessica on Facebook. I'm also on all the other platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of it.
Incredible. You guys, please connect with Jessica. This is an incredible resource, and I always learn more and more each time we talk. And I know that people will be following you and checking in with you on what's to come.
Yes. And I just want to say every woman deserves to feel beautiful. And for those of you that are listening, that are wondering, I don't know if I should reach out. I want you to take a moment and really think about that you are worthy having, of having that feeling of having a wardrobe that lines up with the woman you desire to be.
Sink that into your brain. Breathe into it. You guys all know I love about breathing. Breathe in, really visualize what that feels like. And then I want you guys to remember to be kind to yourself on your self love journey today. Until next time, take care.